Everyone. Welcome to the finals of the Porg Cup on the 4th of July. This is David and Jessica from the Built on Hope podcast. We'll be covering this game for you today. So we've got Isaac versus Kyle. Isaac is playing his everyone with
Welcome
Elite
to
Royal
the
Guards,
finals of the
Emperor
Porg
Palpatine,
Cup on the 4th of July. This is
Ugnaught
David and Jessica
junk droid combo,
from the
which
Built
lets him
on
focus
Hope
up the Royal
podcast.
Guards when he tempts him to death. And Kyle is running a Jedi list, but he has Luke Skywalker, Obi-Wan Kenobi, Ahsoka, and Kanan. For support, he's got R2 and Yoda. So this is kind of an interesting one. I actually haven't seen Luke Skywalker in a bit, so I'm excited to see how he does. He got a little bit of a points change, but other than that, not a huge difference from the Fantasy Flight Games version of Imperial Assault. So as you can see, round one is underway already. The two of them very eager to start stabbing at each other. We've got Kanan, Yoda, and R2 moved up to that terminal, and Obi-Wan has just opened up the door on ISP headquarters. On the bottom side, Isaac has also opened up the door already with an Imperial officer, and he's got his elite royal guards ready to charge up and start attacking.
Yeah, so those doors opened up a lot more quickly than I was expecting, but I think this is just down to the two players really knowing their lists. So they went boom, boom, boom through their supports. They knew exactly what moves that they were going to make, and they're ready to start being aggressive. So we'll see what happens.
Yeah, it's a little surprising. We've got Ahsoka left as the final activation on the Rebel side, and we still have the Elite Royal Guards and the Royal Guard Champion. This map is, or the mission we were playing is to your stations. So the security stations are actually worth a pretty good amount of points, and they can do a decent amount of unmitigatable damage as well. So I wonder if both doors were opened because either Isaac or Kyle wanted to give up those security stations.
All right, so it seems like now we're having some thought into what moves are being made next. And so Isaac has initiative, and he has always stressed the importance of having that last activation in their round as being really important. And we'll see if he has any tricks, because he's also really, really keen to have last and first activation. Oh, okay, we've got some action. We've got the Royal Guard Champion moving up, making an attack with element of surprise. And is that Luke Skywalker?
Yeah, so he's going for Luke. And Luke has already activated, so unless Kyle's got a Son of Skywalker there, this looks like it's
But it was an element of surprise. So did he play a card to add a die, or?
So Kenobi has taken 2 damage. I think that was from the what was that from? The Royal Guard Champion took 3 damage from Yoda's ability, and I think the Royal Guard managed to do 7 to Luke. I'm not actually sure why Kenobi took 2 damage here. The two of them playing quite quickly.
Yeah. So we've got Ahsoka coming up and retaliating against this Royal Guard Champion with a pretty decent roll there.
Yeah, all damage symbols. Gonna reroll.
She is taking the reroll.
I'm not sure this is actually better for getting damage through,
No,
but
because there are quite a lot of surges there.
it might force Isaac to use that Zilla technique at least. So we're getting a big hit in.
Oh, a
From
card
Ahsoka.
disorient.
Okay, that's interesting. So Ahsoka has hit the Royal Guard champion for 7. Then he's played Force Surge to deal two more damage. And then we had Disorient milled for the strain effect. Okay. So we've got the Elite Royal Guards now moving up.
Having a poke at Obi-Wan for 3 damage, and moving up to that security terminal.
Yeah, and we've got a second attack coming in against
Ooh.
Kenobi. Some really good offensive rolls, but I think he'll, take his hits. So Kenobi has taken 10 damage, and he's gonna take 2 more from a Grizzly contest from that Royal Guard.
Dying Lunge being played here.
Right, so Kenobi going straight for that Royal Guard
Ooh.
champion. We've got two evades and 2 blocks, which means it should be around 4 damage going through, which is pretty decent.
So it's been pointed out that the 2 damage on Obi-Wan from before was from brutality.
Okay.
They're just paying too quickly.
Yes, they are.
This is what happens when 2 very experienced players play on Vassal.
Right, and we've got two more cards being milled here.
Man, this has been brutal. This has been like very bloody.
Absolutely
so
brutal.
Quickly. I just like blinked and Obi-Wan is gone.
Yeah.
So that's looking like a very strong start for Isaac.
I think if the Royal Guard champion goes down, that could be quite scary for Isaac, though.
Yeah,
but he does have both security stations now.
Right.
So we have the second round starting, I believe. All cards are ready, and then we're gonna see some start of round effects. Initiative passing to Kyle.
Are there any start of round shenanigans happen? So Isaac up 13 in round 1. Very strong start there. I just cannot believe how much damage has just gone out in round 1.
Yeah.
Very aggressive moves on both sides, opening those doors very early and just going for it.
Impressive.
So we have Luke activating, and
he's force pushing one of the Elite Royal Guards over to him.
Could be really important there. Oh, not an amazing roll.
Yeah, just a couple of damage going through. I think 3 on that Royal Guard. And it looks like he will give it another shot. So interestingly, Luke has not rolled any surges in these 2 attacks.
Royal Guard still up.
Yep. Royal Guard is still alive, and the Royal Guard champion is also still alive, but very wounded. I think this does really limit Isaac's targets now because of Yoda's ability, also because of a possible right back at you from Ahsoka.
That's what I was just thinking as well. Now, would you have made that move there, targeting that Royal Guard versus the Royal Guard champion? I kind of feel like I might have gone for the Royal Guard champion there.
I think it depends on his confidence in taking out that Royal Guard champion with some card effects.
Yeah, we are looking at 2 defense stacks. So we have the Royal Guard champion activating now.
And attacking Ahsoka. And there's that right back at you. Yep.
That is a great card. And Ahsoka has been very popular recently in almost all of the... I think in all of the Force user lists I've seen. Okay, very strong roll here. A lot of surges. David, what are these surges for
he's going to get 4 damage and 2 surges. Would be the +2 and the pierce.
No dodge there.
No dodge. A pretty healthy amount of damage, but that Royal Guard champion is now out of there.
Yeah. So that was definitely why they didn't go for the Royal Guard champion there, because they were holding on to that. Kyle was holding on to his right back at you, knowing that that's exactly what he was going to do.
And Isaac did have that dying lunge, so we are seeing so much damage.
And it looks like a take initiative has been...
Ahsoka hitting that Royal Guard.
Taking it off the board. Just figures are dropping left, right, and center right now. So we have a big swing there for Kyle, now leading 15-13. And with the Royal Guard champion off of the board and a Royal Guard, that is a huge swing there.
Yeah, I mean, Ahsoka, as long as she's alive, she can always jump in from really far away to deliver a huge hit, right?
Yeah. So we've seen Ahsoka now popping all the way back there to a safe position. And like you said, she has such good movement that she can still get back into the fight from that position if necessary. Wow, this is now looking pretty rough for Isaac in just a few activations. The aggressive plays possibly not quite working out because his whole mechanic of having the junk droids focus the Royal Guards to get those big hits in doesn't really have your Royal Guards anymore, right?
I think he was able to do it. The issue though was that I think attack rolls on both sides were actually quite good, and things are just exploding so quickly. He's gotten one set of focused attacks off from those Royal Guards, and they did do tons of damage, right? Kenobi is down, Luke's taken 7, Ahsoka's taken 7.
The difference, though, is here the damage has been spread out. Losing Obi-Wan, not nearly as bad as losing a Royal Guard champion and a Royal because there's still quite a few offensive units still on Kyle's team, right? Ahsoka is still up, Luke still up, can still do stuff. Those are the really big heavy hitters, whereas the offensive force on Isaac's side very severely diminished now, right?
Well, we have R2 coming out to harass that junk droid a little bit. But this can be risky because it's possible for things to get at Luke now.
Jake, I am tending to agree with you that that's the main offensive force. You have a lot more fighting force still left on Kyle's side.
Yeah, I think the thing is that Ahsoka and that Luke are still so effective even though they've taken a lot of damage. Whereas for Isaac, the figures that have died kind of died completely, basically.
Yeah, I think for Isaac this is going to be really, really tough to come back from.
I do think it's possible, but ideally, I guess it would have been better if Ahsoka was at full health, and Luke was dead at this point. And it was Palp and a Royal Guard and officers versus Kanan and Ahsoka, maybe.
Yeah, the damage being spread out on Kyle's side, really working. And this goes to what we've been saying before in our podcast, where health pool is a resource. And you want to spend that resource as much as you can. So you want to make it so that your figures are taking some damage, but not being killed off. That's kind of effective use of the HP as a resource.
Mm-hmm. I think Isaac was trying to put a lot more damage onto Luke early in the round, but Kyle managed to kind of block off that corridor, so the didn't quite get there.
So it looks like Isaac now prioritizing the mission objectives and trying to spread his units out, holding on to those security terminals. So how much is it worth?
I think they're worth 2 points. Three victory points each, but they shoot 2 for 2 damage.
So the moment it looks like that security terminal on the left side is able to see a few units.
Yeah, I think Isaac actually has all of them, which bodes well for him.
Right. Those 2 that are on the right side can't see anyone, so they will be held for points.
Yeah, and I think because Kyle only has Kanan and Yoda left to go, he does have to be a little bit careful, right? And Isaac has plenty of officers to try to take all of these terminals.
Yeah, but I don't know if the objectives are going to be enough points to get Isaac to 40 while stalling the game out and not having his figures be defeated. There's not so much places to run here.
I think the thing is, Palpatine is not as frail as you might think, though. And because we've got a sort of melee combat list going on
also
here.
Some action here. We've got Yoda moving up and contesting the security terminal on the right.
Yeah. And that junk droid has just been removed, so I think Palpatine is activating.
Because we have that Royal Guard there in the corner, focused up now.
Yep. And Palpatine's gonna hit Luke with the Force Lightning.
Palpatine getting up there, getting his hands dirty. It's like Yoda is targeted.
Right, so Yoda's getting attacked by that elite Royal Guard. So Palpatine's free attack ability. He's taking 5 damage. Pretty significant. Definitely very, very bloody. Alright, so we've seen a Son of Skywalker come out now.
Okay, this may be kind of sealing the deal for Kyle. Things happen. Luke is quite injured, though.
Luke is very injured, and he is actually weakened as well. But he's hitting Palpatine again. And it's pretty decent damage, actually. And there goes the weaken. Alright, so Kyle is going kind of all in terms of combat. I think if he is able to wipe out Palpatine, then well, I don't know. The Royal Guards actually are still really good, and their defense sometimes can just make them a brick wall to kill. So it
is a guard.
Sure.
Not plural.
So
I don't know how much Okay, so we've got the real guard activating here. Or
He's going for Luke. And
Mhm.
those are
Oh! Ouch.
okay. I was gonna say pretty terrible rolls from both, but dodge is pretty good. It would have only been 1 damage before anyways.
Yeah. Ooh, so it is really not looking good for Isaac.
I think the big difference is that Kanan with only 1 damage on him.
Mm-hmm.
So he is going. I that's on the Emperor.
Okay, pretty good rolls here.
Yeah, that's a pretty solid roll from Kanan.
Mm-hmm.
That'll be 6 damage and the pierce.
Yeah, and Zillow has been tapped already. Emperor now at 12 damage at 1 HP left.
Yeah,
Whew.
that's scary.
So he is surviving into the next round, though, with Isaac having initiative. And the take initiative on Kyle's side has been already strained out. So the Emperor will live to. Yes? No? Yes? No?
The Emperor may do something.
Yeah, that you said wait and so initiative passing now to Isaac.
Okay, so we've got the Emperor activating.
Hmm.
And I think he's probably gonna try to take out Luke.
Mm.
We've got that force lightning coming in. And there goes Luke.
Okay. With the aggressive Luke play causing him to go down, Isaac now 30 points. 15. This is getting really.
Both of those rerolls not wonderful, but Kanan's reroll at least made it useful.
Mm. And the Emperor now tucking back in to that corner there. Don't think it is far enough, though, right?
Yeah, so that it'll be interesting because Kyle obviously wants to kill that Royal Guard and the Emperor as soon as he can. Ahsoka's range is quite impressive. Kind of force leap 6 and move 2. But that does mean that she can't actually quite get in there this round. Yoda instead is going first, focusing up Kanan and standing on that security station.
Ooh, planning.
Alright, so Isaac's getting a couple more cards. He has played a huge number of command cards already.
Right, we've got an attack going out.
So unfortunately, that looks like it misses range. He's only got 3 range. He did have 1 surge remaining for the accuracy, but that'll be a very small amount of damage on Yoda. The Royal Guard still has quite a bit of health. I don't think he's actually going to go down that quickly or easily.
Oh, we've got R2 coming and zapping that officer there in the corner. I don't know. No defense die were rolled, so...
That officer has taken 2 damage so far. We've got another officer taking a long-range shot at Kanan. It does not hit, though. We've got all the support figures spreading out and taking these security stations, while the main kind of combat figures chase each other around the map. It's quite fun to watch. We've got a planning now from Kyle as well. He's refilling his hand a little bit.
Ooh, playing Iron Will.
I think he's actually discarded Iron Will.
And taking an attack.
So this is Kanan's attack, I
on
think.
The Royal Guard, I assume.
Oh, there we go. Yeah, he was missing a yellow die. He's taking that Royal Guard up to 6 damage. Now we've got the Ugnaught coming out.
So the Ugnaught position also is blocking Ahsoka from getting to the Royal Guard easily as well. We've got knowledge and defense being played, and a white die being chosen.
Okay, so he manages to exactly block all of the Ugnaughts' damage.
Or all of the junk droids' damage.
Yeah, sorry, all of the junk droids' damage. And then we've got the second junk droid attack coming in now. Or sorry, the junk droid moving next to Yoda.
So Ahsoka does manage to get up to that Royal Guard, even with Ugnaught blocking there. Is pretty swift because she can choose to take the movement point.
Yeah, and he's got a good amount of block and an evade as well. I think Zillow and some card resources might all be needed.
But the Royal Guards have a fair amount of health.
Right, he has 4 health left.
Now we've got Perry being played here.
Alright, so 2 evades and 2 blocks. And that would take it down to just 2 damage going through. It's an absolutely brutal game, though. And I think this does mean that Palpatine is going to survive until the next round.
Is very wily.
Oh. That Royal Guard is going for Yoda now.
Oh, okay. I was like, ooh. That was not a great roll, but the re-rolling into a 3 damage.
Yeah, so he's had Kanan has played Get Behind Me and walked in front of that attack. And that Royal Guard is hitting into Kanan.
Mm-hmm. I love it when you play the card with picture on appropriately.
Alright, so Kanan does take a little bit more damage.
But survives.
Yes, he's not healthy either now, though.
No. There's a lot of damage spread out on those remaining Force users. It is a bit dicey for Kyle at this point. If any of those figures go down, it is getting really close.
Yeah, the points game on Isaac's side starts to be scary because all he needs is maybe an unnegated celebration.
Mm-hmm. And
or if he'll get some more from the terminals, and if he can just kill off Ahsoka, for example, that would be huge.
Yeah, the Luke going down there was huge. And the Emperor staying up. Ooh, okay, we've got Take Initiative being played, and
it doesn't look like it is being negated.
Ooh, okay, this is looking pretty good for us here. Oh, and it looks like Yoda has been taken off of the board because of...
I think it was a Palpatine tempt.
Man, we wrote Isaac off too early. Look at this.
I thought he could make a comeback if he managed to take out Luke.
This was a really crazy game. I've never seen a finals happen that quickly. So crazy. I'm still reeling from what has just happened.
That was a blitz of a game.
Wow.
Yeah, so that'll be 40. Wow. I had a feeling that leaving that Palpatine on 1 health was really risky.
Yeah. Yeah, and the Luke running up as well, that was pretty scary. I mean, you want to get value out of your resources like Son of Skywalker. You want to use your figures, but oh man, yeah, losing Luke there, that was a huge swing.
Hey guys.
Hey guys.
It was a very difficult to commentary game because of how quickly you were.
Yeah, sorry about that.
We should have slowed down a little bit. You're right there.
Yeah.
Wow, what a game though. I mean, it definitely looked like Kyle was ahead early on. Then those Palpatine moves at the end cleared the board quite spectacularly.
Yeah.
Indeed.
Fighting with 1 health there, and losing Luke, I think, was really, really huge. I mean, Luke did dodge, but I mean, at some point his luck has to run out.
Yeah, I think he only dodged 1 damage.
Yeah,
as well, which is not.
Yeah, for sure. So I'm not sure, Kyle. Did you? Because honestly, I didn't even notice it until we came to End Effects. Did you notice the station having line of sight to Luke when you moved Kanan there to block the Royal Guard from being able to attack next round?
No, I wasn't. I wasn't thinking about that.
Yeah, no, I mean exactly the same here. It just when the points came. I mean, I've honestly never seen a game in a long time where so much damage has actually been inflicted by the stations. Most games I've played, it's usually just the points.
I mean, I think that got off a huge number of attacks with pretty good damage rolls right away.
Yeah, exactly.
Both sides. I mean, Obi-Wan went down kind of immediately, and Luke took 7 from that first hit.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, my round 1 attack dice were very, very strong. Then my Royal Guards proceeded to roll nothing but single damages, but at that point, I got enough momentum from those lucky rolls in round 1 that because, the reason I really wanted to get rid of Obi-Wan, I think is probably pretty clear to see, because once he's gone, I have so much control of the board because I have more figures and more expendable figures. I can afford to have some objective runners, and 3 points around is not to be scoffed at all.
Yeah, those terminals are definitely worth it.
Yeah.
I think that Ahsoka play killing off the Royal Guard champion was quite good as well.
Absolutely. I mean, Kyle played very, very well in that regard because I had Iron Will in hand when he attacked my Royal Guard for the second attack, and I was umming and ahhing because obviously it's very annoying if I get to 7 or 8 damage when suddenly every figure I could attack is going to splash damage back at me. So yeah, I mean, Kyle played that very, very well, and yeah, I just decided to take my chances because I had Dying Lunch in hand. I decided that, well, worst come to worst, I'll still get my attack off anyway. So yeah.
Kyle, any thoughts? That Palpatine escaped with just one health at the very end.
Yeah.
I guess it was a choice between trying to take out that Royal Guard and going to chase Palpatine with Kanan, right?
With who?
With Kanan? Is that?
Yeah.
I guess he.
I did attack. I did attack the Emperor.
Yeah.
With Kanan.
Yeah, you definitely did.
And that Royal Guard barely lived as well with the last minute kind of parry and everything coming in.
Mm. Yeah, exactly. I mean, these guys, they are tanky. But honestly, when I heard that this was the final map, I was pretty pleased because the security stations are the Royal Guard's best friend. So I can perform an attack and get there round 1 very easily with my pushes and everything. And the other security station, if Kyle is going to send someone down there, then he's going to lose an attacker, or he's going to lose R2, which means he loses a card every turn. Yeah, I was considering round 1 whether it would be better to just go, as my saying goes, when in doubt, stay conservative, to maybe just send the champion off to the station instead, and accept that. All right, if you really want to go for him, you're going to have to overexpose with someone because the champion is faster than everyone in Carl's list except for Ahsoka. So that would have been an option. It would have been some splash damage as well, but at the same time, just that's 7 damage on Luke and the 2 on Obi-Wan, ironically as well. Even though that was not a great turnout, that 2 damage was enough to be able to kill him in 2 attacks in Grizzly.
Do you know what I'm most surprised about? Actually, is it felt like you played more command cards than Kyle somehow.
Yes, so let's see. I discarded Death Blow with Zillow because that wasn't really going to do much for me. Played Element round 1, discarded Disorient from Strain. Played Grizzly. Discarded.
You also lost Get Behind Me and Terminal Protocol for Strain.
Yeah, exactly. So I did discard a lot of cards.
Removed for Strain, but with R2 and with Yoda's kind of milling and heroic effort, I was honestly expecting a lot more cards to come out from the Rebel side. It just worked out this way. I mean, I guess you must have had some pretty good cards using Yoda's ability, since the ones you played were all pretty serious.
Well, I also had a. Sorry to interrupt.
Yeah, no, go.
I also had a start contesting those terminals stations. With R2, and I thought R2 would do at least 1 damage to kill that Ugnaught and or the junk droid, and 1 damage to the 1 damage to the officer to get him off that station.
Mm-hmm.
So that was my thinking there, rather than card draw.
Right.
But obviously that didn't come to fruition.
He did not manage it. I mean, sometimes R2 is a hero, but I guess not today.
Not today.
Yeah, indeed. I mean, and that's just kind of R2 for you. Sometimes he's amazing. Sometimes he's always amazing if you play him just for drawing cards. But those attacks can win games, or they just do nothing. And in this game, you were a little bit unlucky with your attacks. Yeah.
I mean, if you just look at look at what's on the board now, though. Even at the very end of the game,
Hmm.
I would say that the Emperor and Royal Guard are pretty much dead, right?
Yeah, exactly. I mean, it was start of round 2 where you killed the champion and your Royal Guard. So I was seriously on the back foot in regards to attackers. But because I had enough bodies and I was able to take some of those security stations, that really was all I needed.
You got 15 points from
Yeah.
objectives, I guess.
Yeah, exactly. And I mean, just like Carl said, he had to move up forward and take those security stations because you can't let your opponent get 9 points around. That's just insane.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, that's game over by round 4, doing nothing, right?
Yeah, and that was the problem as well because he had to push up forward and take those security stations. That meant that he lost his body blockers for Luke, which meant that the Emperor could get lightning off on him, which takes him down to 6 health, and 6 is definitely gettable, especially when he takes when he takes 2 from a security station as well. Then that's just a 10th and lightning away.
Yeah. The early on kind of getting Luke up there and then managing to get all those body blocks to keep Isaac's Royal Guards from getting to him was pretty cool. Definitely good positioning, because it looked like there was potential for Luke to just be pummeled into the ground very early, and I was
Well, that's exactly what I was thinking.
Yeah, exactly. And I mean, so I'm not. I can't quite remember exactly what I drew round 1. But a really big thing was that Kyle didn't draw Son of Skywalker or Knowledge and Defense very early, and that's pretty big because those are 2 incredible cards. That definitely would have changed the game if they had come up a little bit earlier. I mean, if you had started the game with Knowledge and Defense and Son of Skywalker, obviously that requires an insane amount of luck to start the game with those 2. But it's not impossible with you going through 5 cards round 1. It would have been a very different game because then Obi-Wan most likely would have survived and Luke would have really been punching.
Yeah, that was just so much damage. Still super kind of reeling at the amount of damage that just went out in about 5 minutes.
Yeah.
I mean, but it was a combination of you guys playing quite quickly and rolls being pretty decent. Just everyone in melee range cutting each other's limbs off, basically.
It was a good brawl.
Absolutely.
I think there was Dying Lunge every which way as well.
Yeah, I mean, we both played Dying Lunge. We both played a card to deal 2 unblockable to someone. I had Grizzly here for Surge.
Oh yeah.
We both had Get Behind Me. Mine was discarded. His was played. Which, I mean, that was an amazing play because if you hadn't played that, I would have most likely killed Yoda, taken the station, and I just would have won without needing to be able to play take. And if you had negation, which again, I mean, being able to cut off your card draw because you have to move up and contest those stations has really definitely helped me because negation, I'm not sure really what you could have done because I really just needed a few points and, that's you're not going to stop me from having that station that the Green Officer is holding.
I think I had to get rid of negation because I drew Son of Skywalker with Yoda and had negation in hand, so I had to toss that to keep Son of Skywalker. Something like that.
That feels bad, man.
So it was a good trade, but you don't want to get rid of negation.
Yeah, that's for sure. And I mean, I did discard negation for a block after you had discarded take initiative from strain because initiative was going your way next. And whenever you just look at negation and just say, "I'll discard it," just hurts at a deep psychological level. It just.
I was with you.
Yeah.
It's a discarding I put on the bottom of my deck.
yeah, exactly. Which, considering your card roll, now that you've run out of your terminal area, it's basically the same thing. I did have a little bit of a misplay because I thought I had 2 cards left in my deck when I left the Blue Officer there in the final round, whereas I only had 1 card left. But It really didn't change anything. They also could have moved up 4 and got a shot off on Ahsoka, but
Yeah. So she still has what, four left?
5 left.
And still has, I can't see. He's taken what, 9? Yeah, they're both still, sort of alive. Whereas Emperor is pretty much dead.
Yeah, I mean, the thing is, the Emperor is an insanely powerful figure, and if you can run him in a list where you're able to get his maximum value out with, get those extra attacks, get the lightnings off, and I mean, you guys saw how incredibly massive the weekend was on Luke.
Oh,
So that was probably a solid, maybe 5 damage swing because you couldn't use your Search for Pierce.
Yeah.
And he survived and won.
Luke basically died in what, 2 attacks and a lightning?
So he was
One
attacked.
attack and 2 lightning.
1 attack and 2 lightnings. Yeah, I mean that's pretty brutal.
Yeah, and a security station and attempt, and he dodged 1 attack. Yeah. No, I mean, he went down very, very fast. I mean, I do think that Luke does suffer from some of the problems that some Season 1 IACP stuff have, which the committee is definitely looking at, because a lot of the IACP Season 1 changes were kind of approved because people didn't understand that those cards wouldn't be tinkered with again. Because, no one's going to say no to Luke going down 1 point, but it's not enough, And also, the thing which is a little bit silly about Luke is that he can be very, very dicey, I mean, Carl and I have played against each other with. Yeah, I mean, when you have used that list several times, and I've used my list several times, and we've gone at each other, I think, probably on every map at this point. Win rates are pretty equal. But very often it comes down to, does your Luke roll 3 single symbols? 7 symbols in every single attack. And that's, and obviously that the same thing can be said for the champion as well, because, the champion doesn't have a reroll, but he does have some pretty good surges. Let's not kill ourselves there.
I would say the Royal Guard champion, kind of stat-wise, is a bit stronger than Luke at the moment.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, Executor is just an incredibly powerful ability, and Brutality it's not as good as Heroic, not even close, but it is still good. And, being a Guardian Guardians have become really, really strong in the meta, which I think is a good thing, Guardians have been relatively underpowered for quite a while, and, Hunters are still good. And I'm very curious to see what happens in the Beskar Cup, which will be happening later this month, which will be the final VST for Season 3.
Mm-hmm. All right. Well, congrats, Isaac.
Thank you very much. And
well played.
Yeah, definitely.
Exciting final.
I mean, it definitely wasn't an easy game by any stretch of the imagination. Any game against Kyle is always a tricky game. There's no denying he's one of the best players in the world. So, it was good fun.
Well, thank you. I appreciate it. Good game, Isaac. You played very well.
Yeah, thank you.
Alrighty.
And end to the Porg Cup, and we'll hopefully catch you at the next one.
Yep, or at the next podcast. All right.